Hello, welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. This week we are memory planning the week that was December 11th through to December 17th, 2023. But guess what, guys? I've done it a little bit out of order, but this is officially the last voiceover that I have to do for 2023, which means, yep, over the next coming days and weeks, you are finally going to see me finish out 2023. You're going to see like my last hauls, my last bits and bobs, and then we are going to start getting into content for 2024. I cannot wait because my phone honestly needs the storage space because I have filmed up until I filmed fairly regularly and fairly sequentially up until I think it was about July, and then I've kind of just started and picked and chosen what spreads I've wanted to do based on like what I had available, what foil I had on hand, that sort of thing. So I have filmed quite a bit. I think I am roughly 4 months behind on planner spreads just because of life happening and things that have occurred throughout 2024, but I am working on that. I am trying to get those videos filmed. So of course, whilst I can't guarantee that 2024 content will be finished and uploaded and, you know, will be up to date before 2025, I can assure you that I am trying and I'm doing my best. Also, I don't know what's going on with my camera here. I don't know. I think I've mentioned it before, but sometimes when I plan and then I go to edit it and I sort of speed everything up in iMovie and like watch it back, it does this like weird slow-mo thing. So if anyone knows what that is, definitely let me know. And if you know how to fix it, let me know because I want to fix it. I hate when it does that. But I guess for the people who like the bases being laid down, you're seeing it in super slow-mo action. So there is that. But yeah, so speaking of content, I don't know what I'm going to do in December because I don't know if I'm going to be able to have enough voiceovers and enough, you know, bits and pieces done by then. But I'm thinking about possibly maybe doing like a planmas quotation, you know, because I'm like doing quotations in the air. Where maybe I'll post a video every single day in December, and that's kind of my plan miss. So it's not like traditional plan miss in that I'm not doing fun things like vlogging and that sort of stuff. I plan to do that one year. I say it every year that I'm going to do it, and I just never do it. But again, just purely for the fact that I'm so far behind, and I'd really like to be caught up by the time 2025 starts. I'm thinking that maybe if I just keep in this momentum, I might be able to get, you know, enough voiceovers done to keep getting content up throughout December. So I guess that will kind of be my mission for this year, December. So it's planmas without being planmas, and hopefully that will give us, you know, because that's what 31 days of videos. So there's only 52 weeks in a year, give or take. And yeah, that will, I don't know, maybe between now and then we'll be able to get caught up or almost caught up. So we'll see what happens. But life has a good way of happening, especially this year for me. But I guess with all of that aside, let's go ahead and talk about this spread. So this is a plannerface kit. First of all, you will notice that I've done something different straight away, and that is that I've used the entire bottom washi strip. I don't often do that because I find that looking at spreads with like the full bottom washi strip now don't work for me. Like visually, I don't find them appealing anymore. However, I think this one really works because it is like a pattern. It does have like a glimmer of gold in it. And then little fun fact for you, after I finished filming this plan with me, I actually found extras that I'd purchased. So I had an extra washi, I had extra boxes, and naturally I didn't bring them into the spread because I didn't know that I had them at the time. And yeah, so that's annoying. But I think that this bottom washi actually suits this spread really nicely. I may try and do some of this more in 2025, depending on what happens, depending on what the kits look like, because to me, it really depends on how the bottom washi looks, whether it's going to be too much, too bold, that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens. My sidebar, though, very traditional. So we've got the 3 full boxes in the sidebar, and then we do have a little box there in the sidebar that says 2 weeks until Christmas. And then I've put like a little Sadie's stickers, like banner glitter header accent piece above the full box. And then the top left-hand corner, I just do the little paint swatch thing with some deco and a monthly script from plannerface as well. And then we will go ahead and get into the day by day. So first and foremost, Monday, the 11th of December, absolutely wild because we're almost there at this point in time. But the first thing that I have marked, to nobody's surprise, is that I worked this day. I then marked underneath that I actually logged out early and had a half day because on the 11th we actually had our first ever consultation with our IVF specialist. So I've just marked that we actually went to meet Dr. Dave from IVF Australia on this date. For anyone who may or may not watch Big Miracles on, I think it's Channel 9. It's usually on like a Monday night, and it usually starts in like February, March, kind of when maths is finishing. But for anyone who may watch it, Dr. Dave was actually on season 1 with Connie, the big like curly frizzy haired lady from Coogee. He was actually her obstetrician. But yeah, we're working with Dr. Dave. I feel like maybe that was a little bit too much information, but well, I've then marked below that oh, that's right. So when we went to the specialist, it's on like a one-way street. So, well, it's a two-way street, but then the end of the street cuts off into a one-way lane that's like bus lane only. So you kind of can only go to a certain spot on the street, and then you kind of have to turn around. We didn't know that because it's from an area that we're not privy to, and we don't frequent. So my husband ended up driving down the bus lane, and he's so weird with that kind of stuff. Like, he was so panicked and so anxious, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So every time we have to go to the clinic now, we're like, ha ha ha, like, drive in the bus lane. So I marked that down. I then marked that we had Subway for lunch, and then I marked that we had to pick up some medication because my specialist put me back on metformin. I have been on metformin before because I do have polycystic ovaries, and it helps with insulin resistance. I'm not diabetic. It is a diabetic medication, but because I have insulin resistance as part of my PCOS, it's kind of to help with my blood sugars and to help that. I had been on it before many years ago, and I didn't really like how it made me feel, and it felt restrictive, and it was a lot. But since being back on it now, like, I'm fine. So I started back on that, and then I also marked that we got McDonald's on the way home as well. So obviously not much else to note on that day, because it literally, I feel like Macca's is probably like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we've obviously just come home and not really done anything. So yeah. On to Tuesday. So Tuesday I've marked, of course, work at the top of the day there, and then I did mark that I did some laundry and some tidying up. I've then also marked that I had a cup of coffee, and then I had a little bit of a YouTube binge, and then that rolled into some ASMR and chill. So I do tend to watch ASMR on Twitch, but sometimes I do watch it on YouTube. But yeah, watch some ASMR and just relaxed. And then I finished out Tuesday by marking that we had some family time. No, we had a lazy evening, and I've just put the little dog paw there because lazy evening to us is pretty much sitting with our dogs on the couch, watching TV, or like scrolling our phones, watching our laptops, whatever it is. We kind of just hang out and spend time together. Wednesday the 13th. So that was actually my friend from work's birthday. So I just heard a really loud bang, and I don't know if it's my dog getting into mischief or like what. I better check that in a minute. But yeah, it was my friend Laura's birthday. Then I marked that I, of course, worked. And then, we got like an email or a letter to mark that, to say that our dogs were overdue for a vet checkup. I'm really bad with that. Like, I'm so used to relying on like correspondence from the vet to say that our boys are due for a checkup that I don't follow up on it myself. So I'm lucky that we got that and we did book them in for a checkup. And then December, why did I say it? Anyway, then I marked that I was stressed about Nico. So for anyone who has been following her, who has been watching all of these Plan With Me videos, you may or may not remember that I had a German visitor over back in September. So he stayed with us for 3 weeks, and he was actually someone who I au paired in Germany back in 2010, 2011. I lived with them for 12 months, and I looked after him, his brother, and his sister. And he surprised me in September with a visit and stayed with us. And then I think in December, I can't exactly remember, but I know there was a little bit of back and forth because after me, he was going on a little bit of like a trip, and then he was going to another family, and then I think something happened with that family and they didn't work out. So he stayed with them for like a month, and then he left to another family in like Victoria or something. And then I think he had plans that he wanted to come back to Sydney and stay like a little bit longer, but he wasn't sure, and he was trying to make plans ahead of time, and I wasn't really sure of what I was doing because of obviously the IVF stuff. And with the IVF stuff, you need to be ready to go and do things like at the drop of a hat. Like literally you get daily updates, and they'll tell you whether you need to come back in the next day or whether you need a blood test the next day, whatever it is. So I was stressing about that because I was worried that if he was going to come back, we weren't going to be able to do much with him because I'd be going through IVF, and it was just this whole big thing, and I was so incredibly stressed. But as it was, it ended up working out really well. He finished up with the second family, and then he went on like a bit of a road trip around Australia himself and saw more of Australia than I've seen, and I live here. So I think that worked out really nicely for him, and then he did fly home. So it all worked out, but I was very stressed at the time. On Wednesday night is actually the night that I started metformin, so I picked it up on the Monday, but I didn't start it until the Wednesday. And then I finished out Wednesday by marking that I washed my hair. On to Thursday, I've marked work at the top of the day there, and then I booked in my bloods for the Monday. I don't know why. Is that because... I think I had to go and get like some pre-screening tests as part of our like, orientation and whatever else. So I booked blood tests on that day. Then I had a hair appointment this day, and when I had my hair appointment, or when I have my hair and waxing appointments, I usually get takeaway on the way home, so I did mark that I got KFC this day. When I got home, I did some laundry, and then once again, I just finished out the day by marking that we had a lazy evening. On Friday, I marked that I dropped and picked my husband up from work because he had work drinks that night. So obviously, so that he can have those drinks, I drop him into the station, and then I pick him up later that night when he gets home. So mark that. On the way from dropping him in, I did treat myself to McDonald's for breakfast, and then of course I marked work for the day. And then apparently I didn't have anything else exciting to mark because I marked that my car payment was due this day. Then I marked that I played The Sims after work, and because my husband was out and I couldn't be bothered cooking, I did get Thai takeout for dinner. And then I watched Falling for Christmas on Netflix, I think it was, before I went and had to pick him up. I don't remember. It was sometime in the AM. I don't think it was too late because he's generally pretty good in that regard. But yeah, it was the AM. On Saturday, I did mark that we had a vet appointment, so the ongoing saga with our guinea pig. So we had a follow-up checkup for him. We then got McDonald's breakfast. Wow, McDonald's breakfast 2 days in a row, and KFC on Thursday. That's 3 days of takeaway. Love that. I then marked that I watched a movie called Best Xmas Eve. I think maybe Michael went to the gym or something, because usually I watch all my like rom-com Christmas movies when he's not home. And then when he got home, we watched The Santa Claus 2. I've then put a little popcorn bucket and a little popcorn sticker there because obviously I've watched 2 more Christmas movies, but I've not recorded them. And in one of my videos that I voiceovered recently, I did mention that I had scripts that were customized by Plannerface, and I put them somewhere and I don't know where they are. So until I find those, and until I find the paper that I marked these plans on, I don't remember what I watched, so they may or may not stay empty for the rest of eternity, but we'll see. And then on to Sunday, at the top of the day, I've marked that I had a cup of coffee, and then we went Christmas shopping this day. This was the day that we went, so we went shopping, and we went across the road, like out of the shopping complex to another shop across the road, just to have a look at some knickknacks in there. I think it was TK Maxx. And by the time we came back, my brother had messaged me because he was also in the shops. And he said that the shopping center was being evacuated for a fire drill. And I was like, surely not. And sure enough, we got back to the shopping center and everyone was being evacuated. The alarms were going off, and we kind of just stood there and waited because obviously, like, we were there, we wanted to get as much of our shopping out of the way as we could so we didn't have to come back. So I marked that it was evacuated. I then marked that we had Mad Mex for lunch. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's Mexican food, and it is my favorite Mexican food franchise. I then marked that on the way home from shopping, we did stop in. I just wanted a McDonald's Coke. Like, there's just something about a McDonald's Coke with extra ice in summer that's incredible. And then we went to the Christmas warehouse. We went to Kmart, and then that night we finished the day by watching Santa Claus 3. That is it. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you all soon for another video. Bye!